Happy August, friends. We are way too far into the year for my liking. I don't know when we got here. Okay, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepped. I wasn't ready. But we're here. I read 6 books and a novella in July, and honestly, it's a pretty good reading month. I didn't really read that much because I was really busy with work and just life, but what I did read was good. So what we're gonna do is we are going to talk about them. I have 4 of them in a physical copy. I have to go grab one of them, and then the rest are on my Kindle. I tried to make it a point to get through some of my physical books this month because it's a problem. I have way too many on my physical TBR, so we are currently in the works to fix that. So I'm gonna go get the other one, and then we'll come back and we're gonna talk about them. Not the first one I read, but the first one we're going to talk about is The Worthy Wardrobe by Morgan A. Wider. Wider is a closet curator, stylist, the works. She's also a Black woman, which made my heart so happy whenever I figured out. Wider does a really good job of mixing style with self-love and healing and religion and just how powerful clothing can be on your body, and this is great. I am a personal stylist and manager in training at Buckle, and this gave me such a strong insight on how women view themselves and how much clothing can affect how women view themselves, and I just so good. I loved this. I gave this 4.5 stars. There was a couple things that I personally would have changed that just have to do with me but other than that, I really liked this book. It was really good, and I have been recommending this to almost every woman that I know. I'm like, you have to read it. You have to. So good. More in order, we have Sing You Home by Ava Hunter. And not only did I get this in Nashville, but I also read this in Nashville while I was there for Pride, and it's set in Nashville, which was really fun. It's the first book in her Nashville Star series. I got this at a secondhand bookstore. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it right now, but it's signed. I feel like the universe knew I would love this book by giving me a signed copy of it because this was so good. This is an amnesia romance, second chance, small town. He's a big country music artist, but like, this is the most humble man I've ever read in my life. Luke and Sal get into a plane crash, and Sal goes missing, and after months and months and months of looking for her and trying to find her, they're on the verge of declaring her dead when she shows up in a diner where Luke's brothers are, and just the craziness that happens in here is absolutely wild. There is a bit of suspense, which I really enjoyed. I felt like the book would not have been the same without it. It definitely needed it to carry the book for as long as it is, because Luke and Sal are just made for each other in every single lifetime, and you cannot convince me otherwise. They love each other so deeply, and Luke's love for Sal is just absolutely gorgeous, and that happens immediately when they come back to each other, which, well, not immediately, but pretty soon after they come back to each other, which is understandable. Like, I'm glad that that happened, but the suspense aspect that was added to this was perfect. I will be reading the rest of this on Kindle Unlimited, and I will be buying the rest of these books because I'm so excited. And look how pretty the cover is. I usually don't like covers with real people on them, but something about this one just is so good. You also get Luke's music, and I just want, I want to be on the porch. Put me on the porch. The fact that I cannot see the Canacid brothers live should be criminal. I felt the same way about Daisy Jones and the Six. But the Kinnisid brothers, I would go feral. Feral. I would lose my mind. Anyways, I gave this book 5 stars. I think that's a given. I really liked this one. This one was good. That was good. Next on the physical books that I read this month, we have That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey. I also really liked this one. If you can't tell by how many tabs are in here, just right? That's how I feel. In here you have Garland Moore, who is going through a divorce and finding herself and kind of reinventing herself a little bit. She's ready to start something new, and she goes to a adult summer camp where she meets Stevie. I love Stevie. There's something about book characters with the name Stevie that gets me every time. It's just, they're always so good. I don't know how it happens, but Garland and Stevie meet at this adult summer camp, and it's very insta-lovey, okay? They're only there for a week, but I believe that these two made it work after summer camp. They made it work, they stayed together, they made it work, and it happened, and it was great. They make a few jokes about how fast they're moving, and I just think it's funny. This was exactly my kind of humor. And the growth that Garland goes through as a character was so good. It was so good. Just very strong, very, very needed. And you also get to watch Garland, I guess, realize her sexuality while she's at this summer camp. And I always enjoy reading queer romances that are like that. I gave it 6. I knew it. This definitely hit my all-time favorites list. This felt like summertime, and it felt good. I remember reading this and laughing out loud. It also has great LGBT rep just outside of these two. The amount of queer people in this space is absolutely amazing. I love that. So good. So 6 stars if you're looking for a summertime read, if you're looking for a sapphic read, if you're looking for a queer read, pick her up. Last on the physical list, we have In the Weeds by BK Borison. I'm not gonna lie, I was really excited for this, and it just missed the mark, right? Like it was almost there, but it missed just a little bit. Rated at 4.5 stars. I would honestly probably say it might be closer to 4 stars than 4.5. This took me a really long time to actually get into, but I will say once I was in it, right? Like I was there, okay? But it did take me a second to get there. You may or may not know, but I don't love miscommunication. It's not my favorite. It's okay when it's a little bit, just because that's just how people are, but when it's a very strong trope in the book, it's not my favorite. And I knew that going into this book, so I'm not mad about it. I think that it did miscommunication decently. It wasn't my favorite depiction of miscommunication, but it worked. It did what it needed to do. You've got Evelyn St. James and Beckett Porter. Love Beckett. He's such a... Beckett is a simp, okay? In the best way possible, and I mean this with love because I love simp men. Beckett is a simp, okay? He would do anything for Evelyn, and I love that. Evie, on the other hand, Evie kind of annoyed me because, girl, why are you being like that? Like, just say yes. Just do it. Stop leaving for no reason. But Evie comes back to the town where she had a one-night stand with Beckett, and she is a ex-social media influencer, and she is kind of leaving that and starting over. That was a common theme for the month, was reinvention and starting over. And we get a little bit of forced proximity and obviously second chance and all of that good stuff in here. while you also get Evie reinventing herself, which I think was probably my favorite part of the book, although Beckett did carry this book for me. He did. He truly did. By the last this much, I have so many like little tabs in the pages of my book, but this, I had to get through this first. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to get through, but that's okay. I will be reading the rest of the Love Light Farm series. I started with this one because springtime is my favorite season. Evie is brown like me, which I love, and I didn't want to read Love Light Farms first because I cannot read holiday romances outside of holiday time. I just can't do it, so I'm waiting to read that one, but I will be reading it. It wasn't bad. It was good. It just wasn't great. And good time. Good time. So I do recommend this. One thing I will say, whenever I was making my aesthetic board on Pinterest, which if you don't know, I do that for pretty much every book. If you want to follow my Pinterest, it is here. But when I was making the aesthetic for this, the amount of whitewashing that happened to Evie, I literally had to go to BK Borison's Pinterest, find her Pinterest board for In the Weeds, and see how brown Evie was, because I thought I was delusional and I was making it up in my head. But no, like, can we stop doing that? That nitpicky, small thing, but like, can we stop? Finally, now on to the 3 books I read on my Kindle. The first one that I read was Saving Rain by Kelsey Kingsley. I love Kelsey Kingsley so much. There is something about the way that she writes tortured men that just right in the soul, right in the soul. But I will say, Soldier is my favorite man. Let me put it out there now, let it be known right now, that felon of a man is my favorite. Saving Rain, you have Soldier and Rain, who Soldier just has gone through it. He has gone through the ringer. He has seen it all, been through it all. Soldier and I's mother, very similar. My mom is a lot like Soldier's mom, which I'm not going to get into that. If you read the book, then you understand. So I felt for him, and the things that he did were so justifiable because he was doing it to save not only himself but his mom and just make a good life for them the best he knew how, with the best example that he was given. So I take no criticism on what this man did. Now, am I saying what he did was right? No. But I will accept no criticism on it. You can say nothing. He's done no wrong in my eyes. None. And then Rain. Rain just, I want to bottle her up in a jar and put her in my pocket and take her with me everywhere I go. Same thing with her son, Lucas. Noah. Her son, Noah. Where did I get Lucas from? Her son, Noah. I adore the 3 of them so much. They deserve everything good in the world that life can give them. I saw someone say, and I put this in my review on Instagram. Again, if you don't follow my Instagram, you should. You want to see all my reviews as I read them, mostly as I read them, a little bit behind. But I saw someone say that Saving Rain at its core is a second chance at life, and I believe that. Redemption, very emotional. I very much recommend reading the trigger warning for anything by Kelsey Kingsley, just because she touches on some really, really heavy topics, but she does it very well. I don't want to say a lot about Saving Rain and what it's about because 1, it's hard to explain, but 2, I just want you to read it. So trust me on this one and go read it. If you read the trigger warnings and you feel like you can, please go read it. She just released the bonus epilogue for Saving Rain, and I read it, and it gave us the meet cute for the next book, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the next book. The Spider. You're telling me this man has tattoos of spiderwebs on his hands? Something Kelsey Kingsley does that I really enjoy too is she writes from the perspective of the man, but the man is always deeply emotional and very layered, and I love that. Okay, we're gonna go through these last two kind of fast because I am running out of daytime. If I didn't give Saving Rain, if I did not tell you what I rated that book, I rated it 6 stars. 6. Oh, howdy cowboy. Kelsey Kingsley cannot write a bad book. I stand by that. The next one I read was When Life Gives You Lemons by Noor, Sasha. If I'm saying that wrong, please correct me. This book has Desi rep, it has epilepsy rep, which I thought was really cool to read about, and it is arranged marriage. You have Alina and Azir, and they are put into an arranged marriage after they ruin Azir's sister's wedding. And these two go from very much dislike. We don't like each other, slightly not enemies to lovers, not even really rivals to lovers, because these two, be for real, they are slight dislike to lovers, which I think is so much fun. Azir is a single father to Zoa, and I love Zoa. She's a little spitfire and she's just so cute, and I also want to put her in a bottle and put her in my pocket and take her around with me everywhere I go. Azir and Alina's relationship and love for each other is astronomical. Azir absolutely, again, is a simp and would do anything for Alina, and Alina also is just so sassy. Azir literally calls her Nuisance. Nuisance. That's his pet name for her, is Nuisance. These two were so fun to read about. I don't know much about Desi culture, nor do I know much about epilepsy. Reading about those two things, being two things that I don't know much about, was really nice. I feel like Noor, Sasha did a really good job of representing those two things. I feel like it's definitely something that was needed in the romance world. I don't feel like I see a lot. Now, if epilepsy is something that triggers you, there are descriptions of Alina having seizures, so just be mindful of those. I do want to throw that out there. There are trigger warnings at the start of the book, which I feel like every author needs to do that, and they don't. Definitely read those trigger warnings and be mindful and take care of your brain. Do pick up When Life Gives You Lemons. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. These two are another set of characters that I fully believe are made for each other in every single lifetime, and you can't convince me otherwise. They would have found each other one way or another. That's how I feel about those two. They definitely would have found each other one way or another. I'm very excited for the rest of the Sun Tower series. I feel like it's going to be very good. It was Sasha's debut novel, and for a debut novel, wow. Wow. I am speechless. That was fabulous. Definitely 6 out of 5 stars. Another one added to my all-time favorite list. I feel like I will recommend this for the end of time. I loved it so much, and I'm so excited to see what comes next. Our final book that I read in July was a novella, and it was It Has to Be You by Dani Mclean, and that was so cute. A little over 200 pages. It's very whimsy. Like, you definitely have to let your brain have a fun time. Let it have a fun time. But if you let it have a fun time, man, oh man. Another slightly disliked to lovers. Another very sassy main character. I also forgot to mention this, and When Life Gives You Lemons, the female main character is very into books, and I love reading about female main characters who are very into books because I am a female main character who's very into books. I loved that both of them were into that. And It Has to Be You. Andy is a best-selling author for a book series that seemed kind of dystopian. I I was there, but I wasn't fully there. I'm not gonna lie to you. The book sounded really cool. I would love to read it. She's writing the last book of the series, and she's adding a romance into the series. And she's a little nervous about people believing that since she is not romantic and is not in a romantic relationship, that she cannot write romance in a book. She believes in fate, and she believes that fate brings her to Nick. Fate is not bringing her to Nick. Fate is bringing her to Nick's cousin. But she doesn't realize this, because why would she realize this? She believes that it's Nick because Nick was first, right? So Indy and Ethan. Ethan is a school teacher, and he also drives a motorcycle. He rides a motorcycle. And those are two important points for me to address, because yes, Ethan and Indy they don't enjoy each other at first. Ethan finds Indy snooping through Nick's office, and you get to see these two hang out with each other and just form this bond that I loved. I believe that the novella was the perfect size for Indy and Ethan's relationship. It does have a few time skips, so you're kind of trying to catch up with, you know, how long has it been since the last chapter, but I like that because it showed that they didn't just come together in a week. Even within that, Indy's growth as a character was really enjoyable. I really liked it. I feel like she grew a lot in the sense of who she was. You can definitely tell that Ethan helps with that a lot, but I love these two. I thought they were so much fun. It was an easy read. I will be reading some more of Dani Mclean. I tried to read her recent release, and I don't know if I can do the Imaginary Friends. So I don't know. I'm gonna try it again later, but when I did start it, I couldn't do it. I gave It Has to Be You 4.5 stars. I thought it was great. I loved it. If it was longer, it probably would have gotten 5 stars for me, but it was pretty good. That is all of the books I read in July. I feel like I talked a lot, but also talked about nothing and gave you guys nothing on these books, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed. I read a lot of really good books in July, so I'm not really mad about the amount of books that I read. I hope you guys have an amazing morning, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. All right, bye.